For this video, we're going to look at examples of identifying all the parts of a quadratic function. So looking at this graph, I want to identify the vertex, the roots, the y-intercept, the axis symmetry, and the max/min value. So first, the vertex, remember from that first video, that's going to be my highest or my lowest point. And so here, this is my highest point, it's my vertex, it's right here, which is at -2, 5. Next, I want to identify my roots. So remember the roots, that's the one that had all kinds of names. It had solutions, it had x-intercepts, it had zeros. So really my roots are just where the graph crosses the x-axis. So looking down here, I see it crosses right here and right here. And so we're just going to kind of guess on, or estimate on where that's at since it's not crossing at a tick mark. So it's at 1, 2, 3, I'm going to call that -4.25. And I'm going to write this as an ordered pair. Because remember for the x-intercept, we write the number first, and then y is just 0. And then this one's approximately at 0.250. If we were solving this by factoring, it would I would write that as x equals -4.25, x equals 0.25. That's another way you can do that. My y-intercept, that's where the graph crosses the y-axis, which I see is right here. And so remember when you're writing your y-intercept, it's always 0 first, and then your y value. Next, I want to write my axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry, it's always going to be the x value in your vertex. So my vertex, my x value is -2. And so to write this, I'm going to write this as x equals -2 because my axis of symmetry is a vertical line that is cutting this in half. So it's right here. So I do write that as x equals -2 because it is a line. Okay, and then I want to first determine whether this is a maximum or a minimum. Well, since it's opening downwards, we learned from our direction video that that means it's going to be a maximum. Another way you can think about it is it has a top on it right up here. So that means it can't get any higher than that 5 value, so it's maxing out. And so my max value, that's always going to be the y value of my vertex, and so that's 5. Okay, let's try another one. So this one, I want to find my vertex. So that's since this one's opening up, it's my lowest point right here. So it's at 3, -1. My roots, those are my x-intercepts. And so it's where it crosses the x-axis. So I see that's at 2, 0, and 4, 0. For my y-intercept, it's where it crosses the y-axis. This doesn't actually show on this graph, so we're just going to skip that one because we don't know for sure. My axis of symmetry, that's always x equals the x value of my vertex, so that's going to be 3. And then my first need to find out whether it's a max or a min. Since this one's opening up, it's going to be a minimum value. And that's because it has a low point. And then my minimum value, it's always my y value of my vertex, so it's at -1. So here, 3, -1, all comes from my vertex. Okay, let's try this one. So this one, my vertex is at my lowest point. So I'd see it's right here, which is at -3, 2. Roots is where it crosses the x-axis. This one ends up being a little bit different. It's opening up and it never actually crosses the x-axis. So that means that this one does not have any roots. My y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. And so I see that's at approximately 6.5. My axis of symmetry, it's always x equals the x value of my vertex, so -3. This graph opens up, so that means it has a minimum value at the y value of my vertex, which is 2. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. I want you to try this last one. And these are the answers you should have gotten for that last one.